chemical industry. Without it, it is impossible to imagine modern civilization. It is responsible for the chemicals making the world around us safer and more comfortable. Today, we're surrounded by hundreds, even thousands of hard-to-manufacture chemical compounds. Without them, airplanes do not fly, computers do not work, cars do not drive. The production of these materials is, as a rule, a difficult, scientifically demanding process, using trade and sometimes even state secrets. And one of these materials is melamine, a material that looks similar to flour, but that is only its appearance. Melamine, not to be confused with melanin, that's the pigment in our skin that gives it color and protects it from UV light. Melamine carries out a similar function, but only for man-made products. It makes them more durable, reliable, and ecological. For example, melamine is used to produce wood products like this laminated flooring. It's also added to spray paint, allowing us to cover it. But, most importantly, all over the world, melamine is used to produce money. Applying a thin layer of it to any banknote makes it last more than 60 or 100 times longer. Only 2 years ago, to buy this valuable and indispensable chemical, Russian companies had to import melamine from Germany, the Netherlands, and the USA. Russia started to produce its own melamine only in 2012. Eurochem's Nevinomysky Azot, a gigantic plant built in the 1960s, began producing melamine not long ago. Before then, the site produced numerous, no less important products: polyvinyl alcohol, ammonia, methyl acetate. Of course, for the majority of people, these names are difficult to pronounce and incomprehensible. At the same time, they are all interrelated. With nitrogen, you can produce ammonia. From ammonia, you produce urea, and only from urea, melamine. Nevertheless, all of these reactions are only possible under demanding man-made conditions. We're going to follow the production of melamine in Russia, showing how the country's most modern chemical plant works. The first thing that strikes you when you arrive at the chemical plant is, of course, its size: 7 square kilometers. In fact, it's like a small city with a population of 3,500, its own streets and neighborhoods, and its own railway. And to keep this city going, all you need is air. The name of the factory translates as Nevinomysky nitrogen. And nitrogen is one of the most important raw materials used here. Time for a quick chemistry lesson. Our atmosphere is composed of 21% oxygen, 1% argon, and 78% nitrogen, meaning that this plant can produce almost 40 different types of product from fresh air. Apart from nitrogen, the plant uses water and natural gas, neither of which is very expensive. Simplicity of the raw materials is more than compensated for by the complexity of the plant's machinery. For example, ammonia production requires this production line. Last year, Eurochem carried out a whole-scale reconstruction worth more than 3 billion rubles. It's hard to imagine how much it would cost to build such an installation from scratch. In fact, this enormous installation is necessary in order to blend two different elements, nitrogen and hydrogen. Under normal conditions, such a reaction isn't possible. Carried out here, we obtain ammonia in the form of ammonium hydroxide, a liquid with a sharp, unpleasant smell. In one day, this unit produces 2,000 tons of finished product. That's about 500,000 of these small pharmacy bottles. But such colossal production levels are entirely justified. At the factory, ammonia is not only used to produce melamine. As far as the ammonia unit is concerned, it's not just the start of production cycles for all nitrous chemicals, it's also the heart of the plant, which defines the stability and profitability of further processing, and of course, the cost price of the end products. The next stage is synthesis of urea. To do this, liquid ammonia is mixed with carbon dioxide at a pressure of 200 atmospheres. The resulting molten urea is fed into this tower, the highest in the plant. Inside the tower, you can see a really curious phenomenon. It looks really impressive. It's called the boiling bed. However, the appearance is really deceptive. For a start, the temperature is not high. Secondly, if we look at this boiling material falling here a bit closer, let's take a look. It is just dry powder. This dry powder is actually urea, and the tower itself is like a giant drying machine. Under its roof is a system that works like a large colander. It sprays the liquid urea into drops of identical size. They fall by gravity, drying out and crystallizing as they drop. To stop them sticking together, air is blasted up to the granules from below. That's what creates the boiling bed effect, which in fact dries the final product. Only a few years ago, that was where the production cycle ended. The urea went first to the warehouse and then out to sale. But now, a part of this product goes to the plant's melamine unit. This unit is the newest on the plant. Construction began in 2009, and by May 2012 it was already producing its first few tons of melamine. All this was constructed in under 3 years. It measures 320 meters long, 105 meters wide, and 39 meters high. But the unit is composed of different complexes. This centrifuge is 25 meters high. The installation that looks like a rocket is a scrubber, 35 meters high, and all of them brought here by road. Installation was a whole process that took less than a month. The delivery needed special arrangements, because all of the complexes came ready assembled. Their erection required building new gangways, relocating electricity lines. It was a hard and expensive process. Within the unit, difficult and expensive processes also go on, themselves requiring complex and expensive components. To make melamine, the urea needs to be heated and ammonia added. This is the heart of the whole station, the reactor. In these tubes, melamine is synthesized. The plant workers have even given it a nickname, the spider. From above, it becomes clear why. There it is, a spider, and around it is enormous web. All the basic processes in the factory take place at very high temperatures, provided by this enormous oven, capable of reaching 400 degrees Celsius. After that, to cool the burning hot machinery, a normal refrigerator is going to be far from sufficient. All processes are cooled using normal water, which itself is then cooled in this cooling tower. Similar installations are found on nuclear and thermal power plants, and even in Russia's municipal heating stations. But the principles are the same. To understand the processes, it's best to take a look in cross-section. The process is similar to that we saw used to cool urea earlier. Only the cooling tower is a lot lower, and at the top of it is a large fan. The fan creates a powerful current of air, which travels from the bottom to top. Hot water travels from the top to the bottom, cooling by about 10 degrees as it moves. All the used technical water is sent from the factory to cleaning installations. The water goes through several purification processes: mechanical treatment, balancing reservoir, filtration, air tanks, to bring it up to the required quality standard before being fed into reservoirs. Furthermore, the water undergoes decontamination in a sanitation center, which is the only one of its type in the south of Russia. The units used for production of melamine at the plant have no need for sewers. The production cycle uses a so-called dry process with no liquid waste. So this factory is ecologically clean. And this is where melamine is packaged into bags. It's even still warm, hot off the stove. It feels liquid, like fresh milk. In fact, it is more like powdered milk. Let's look. See? Normal white powder. Before packing, it is treated with nitrogen to remove the unpleasant smell of ammonia. This Russian melamine is of the same quality as imported products and by some criteria is better than foreign analogues. Before Russia and CIS countries imported in large quantities of melamine from abroad, so this unique facility is in fact carrying out important substitution, which today is rather topical. The appearance in Russia of this state-of-the-art facility is symbolic, especially in the context of import substitution policy. Today, from this warehouse, tens of tons of Russian melamine are dispatched every day, and the factory itself never stops working, even at night. In a day, this facility produces 150 tons of finished product. In a year, 50,000 tons. That's more than enough to meet the entire Russian demand for melamine, so a part of this production is sold for export. Today, Nevinominsky Azot is one of the biggest chemical plants in Russia. Every year, the tempo and level of production increases. The melamine synthesis unit, which cost the company 10.5 billion rubles, is only the beginning of a major construction project. In the next few years, new units will be created to produce ammonia, urea, ammonium nitrate, and potassium nitrate. Soon, this will become one of the most advanced modern factories, not only in Russia, but in the whole world.